Hello, welcome to Jesus First, then Coffee, the podcast. I'm your host, Angel, and today is the episode y'all have been waiting for. I first just want to say thank y'all so much for tuning in week by week, sharing your testimonies, being transparent and open and honest about what you truly had to lay down in order to take up the cross and follow Jesus. On this episode, it's going to be very special because this episode I'm featuring myself. It's solo. I'm going to share with you what I put first before I laid it down. This is Jesus First, then Coffee. I am your host, Angel Wynn, and I am a filmmaker, director, editor, photographer, and lover of Jesus. I am the seventh youngest of 8. My parents installed not only the fear of God, but also the discipline and understanding of the creative gifts from the Lord in my siblings and me. By inspiring others through simply living life and showcasing my gifts on my social media platforms, this podcast is yet another outlet that the Lord has placed on my heart to encourage His people to prioritize Him first and our desires second. So I hope y'all have your coffee and your tea with you because we are about to get nice and cozy. I've had so many phenomenal guests on this show, so many amazing God-fearing individuals, and I'm truly honored that they were all so willing to just be open, be honest with us, sharing their testimonies and their stories, whether they have been over it and been freed from it for years, or whether it was fresh, something that God was just now delivering them and helping them, and the healing and the transformation that is took place in the lives of you, the listener, you, the viewer, through them just being open and honest has been incredible. I've gotten so many calls and DMs and emails and messages, just hearing your stories and y'all even confiding in us and just feeling that there's a safe place to be able to share is truly inspiring and honoring, and they are covered. I want you to know that every testimony that y'all have shared has been covered in prayer. This podcast has been covered in prayer. God really put this podcast on my heart over a year ago. He placed it on my heart that He wanted me to make a platform for individuals to hear stories, real stories of what it is really like to lay down your will, to take up the cross and to follow Jesus. I believe that we aren't really transparent on that. I feel we are transparent with, the slips and falls and the temptations that we face, but we don't talk about the daily beating, the beating of your flesh, to put it under subjection to the will of God for our lives. And to be able to have that platform. I was telling one listener, I was like, this platform, this podcast was birthed out of disobedience, from me not being obedient with following Jesus and completely submitting to His will for my life, birthed a podcast of God wanting others to understand how to do that. So I will say, Angel, I'm asking myself the question, okay, what did I put first before I laid it down? As interesting as this may sound, I put the prophetic words that the Lord placed over my life. I put that before God. Now, y'all are going, let me just drink to that for a second. Because you'll be like, wait, what? Oh, wait, my drink. Let's take a little sponsorship pause. My drink is a iced vanilla, y'all. I've been drinking vanilla iced lattes on this podcast every episode. But listen, it's my favorite. This drink is brought to you by Wynn Plus. Wynn Plus is a cafe DVD movie rental store here in Houston, Texas. Y'all, I've been seeing y'all pop up and I'm loving it. So if you want to come hang out with me for a second, come to Houston, check out the cafe. It brings back that nostalgic blockbuster feel. So if you're ever in the Houston area, please stop by Wynn Plus and tell them I sent you. Okay. All right. Back from, the break. Putting prophetic words that God has spoken over my life, putting that before God is very interesting because you would think, well, God gave it to you. How can that be something that you can be placing over Him? But there can become an obsession over the word that God has promised you. If you've never gotten a prophetic word, if you never had encountered in prophetic impartation, it is when the Lord uses an individual uses his son, his daughter as a vessel to speak through them, to share a word or a message straight from him. And also you have to, test the spirits, pray and say, Lord, was this word from you? Or, or were they just saying that? Or sometimes, majority of the time, it will be confirmation or even guidance of what is actually taking place in your life. Prophetic words come to warn, guide, and comfort you. It is to warn you of what's to come, good, bad, or different, to comfort you in hard times or troubles that you may be facing, or to guide you and give you direction on where you're going in your life. So back to me putting God's prophetic words before him. I remember the earliest prophetic word I got, I was 12. The Lord has always dealt with me in a very supernatural way. I would have dreams all my life. Just around 7, 8, 9, I remember dreaming, and he would give me different dreams, like and I would also get the interpretation. He would give me the understanding of what the dream meant. I can remember I had a dream of this house. It was there in the house. It had a spiral staircase, and it was a house that in the dream I knew the Lord was saying, I'm going to bless your parents with a home that looked similar to this. My parents are very God-fearing, and they installed in us creative gifting and spiritual gifting. They give us an understanding of what it was, what it meant, how to use it. They trained us spiritually and naturally with our natural gifting, because I am a film editor and director. The Lord has really put it in my parents' burden to train me and my siblings. I'm the 7th out of 8 children from my parents, and they did a phenomenal job raising us and imparting the gifting that God has placed in us, and also the spiritual gifting. So I remember I woke up that day. My dad asked me, he would always ask me, what did you dream about? Did you have a dream? And I would be like, I had a dream. Yeah, I had a dream. And I told him I had a dream that the Lord blessed you with a house, and it had a spiral staircase. And my parents were so awesome to the fact that they took heed to what a child said, like a little child. I was like 8 or 9. And when they were looking for homes, they said, okay, the Lord said it's going to have a spiral staircase. And that can sound radical, but out of the mouth of babes, like, a childlike faith, they really took heed and respected the word that was coming out of such a young mouth. And I remember when we would like go look at different homes, they'd be like, what is it? What do you think about this one? Is it this one? Do you think is this what it looked like? And I would just be like, yes or no. And, surely enough, they found a house that had the spiral staircase, and the Lord really gave them favor and blessed them in that area. And so that was just one example of how the Lord used me in gifting. So I knew the gifting for myself concerning the Lord operating through me for others. But my personal prophetic word given to me from an individual was about marriage. Baby girl, baby boy, listen to me. Anything about marriage and relationship in the body of Christ, I know some prophets and speakers today, they won't even give a prophetic word about relationships, because it's just like we have our own will. The Lord has given us free will. So trying to or even touching on the matter of relationships will always have people just go like just always want to go back to the word and just kind of try to gain understanding and try to go and ask the vessel, well, what did you mean by that? When really the Lord gave it to them. So I remember I was 12 years old, and we were in a revival. Because my father's pastors, he was putting on a revival, and there was a prophet, really respected. God uses him in such an incredible way. There's a prophet there, and he was praying for everyone. He was prophesying, and he called me out. I was 12 years old. He called me out, and he prayed for me. And he prayed such a beautiful prayer of just like even protection. And he told me the Lord was going to, help me in different areas that I may have been struggling in. But the prophetic word that I remember to date, okay, this was the meat of this podcast. The prophetic word he gave me. He said the Lord is going to bless you in marriage. He's gonna bless you. You're gonna get married at a young age, and it's going to be a good marriage. And he went along and said other things. And then he said, yeah, just trust him. He's going to bless you. Honey, let me just say, I came up in the church with mothers and, deacons and elders, but the mothers of the church would tell you stories of how they got married at 18. They got married at one mother, Mother Murchison. God bless her soul. She was such a beautiful key to my life. She taught me baking and crocheting. I loved her so much. So she's with the Lord now. But Mother Murchison told me that she got married at 13. Honey, I'm 12. So I'm thinking, let me get myself together. Let me get myself together because it's on the way. The Lord said it's on the way. So that's my first prophetic word that I got. So I took that word and I hid it in my heart. You can be a good steward over the prophetic words that the Lord gives you, whether that's writing it down, recording it, praying over it. That's how you be a good steward over the words that God gave you. Don't just hear it and let it fall to the ground and just be like, oh yeah, it may or may not happen. Have faith to believe that it will come to pass because it will. It's his word. God is not a man that he should lie. Every word that he promised you will return to you. It won't return to him void. He is not a liar. It's going to happen. You have to water it with faith. Okay, back to my little naive self. Honey, I thought I was about to get married. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening. I've been preparing for this. I know how to crochet. I know how to cook. I know how to bake. I know how to take care of a baby. Honey, what baby? Well, I mean, I took care of a lot of children growing up, but be for real. Okay, so yeah, so that seed was planted, but the Lord was putting that in my heart, knowing the years of just, questions that you would have of just like, will you be married? Will you be able, to have a family and stuff like that? And he was giving me that comfort. That was a word of comfort, that you have hopes for it, it's going to happen. Because when you're a kid, they give you you're taught to, you have a kitchen set, a baby with a stroller. Like those are the toys as young girls. So you're already trying to become a mother at the prime age of 5 because of the toys that was presented, which is still beautiful. I would give my daughters toys, but but just taking that word and kind of looking at that like, okay, like that is the vision for my life. That's what we're going to do. We're getting married. We're getting married at a young age. And as I went on, the Lord uses me. One of my gifting is to be a messenger of God and to be almost like a capsule, almost like a time capsule, if that makes any sense. He uses me to write down even and remember vividly prophetic words that were given to other individuals, and I reshare it to them to encourage them. This is what the Lord said this to you. Like I remember it. My name is Angelique Wynn. Angelique means messenger of God. I remember those things very well. So throughout my teen years, I had that prophetic word and I hid it in my heart. And I would be just kind of like wondering when it will happen, having an expectation that that young is 18. It can't get any younger after 18. Like, so years would go by and I'm like, dang, still not married. I'm still not married. God. And then little did I know I was turning these prophetic words into, I was almost getting bitter from these prophetic words. And that because I'm like, well, God, why would you tell me that if you know it wasn't going to come? Why would you warn me with that? Now I know it was to give me just that comfort in knowing that it will happen. That was the comfort. It wasn't to tell me that it's going to happen next week. It was to comfort me into knowing that it will happen. So 18 comes. I'm like, man, God, what in the world? So there are times you can take the prophetic words that God gives you and almost idolize them. And that's what I was doing. I was idolizing them rather than going to the Lord, praying over them, covering them, and just going back to whatever I was supposed to be doing, whether it was in ministry or business or just life. I was idolizing these words, and I would get disappointed year after year when I didn't see the prophetic word happen. That's what I want to encourage you. If you've ever gotten a word from the Lord, if you recently just got a word from him, do not allow the enemy to bring discouragement and bitterness, seeing that the manifestation of the Lord has not come to pass yet. It will come in due time, if it was truly from the Lord, if the word that you got was truly from him. And I'm not just talking about just things that you heard yourself of, like, you were in your alone time with God and he put something on your heart, that will come to pass. It will all come to pass if you truly just keep the faith, keep believing. It's going to work out. I didn't realize that I had I kind of built up this callous over my heart concerning prophetic words until I was around 2022. I had a conversation with God and I was like, now you told me these things and I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any of it. And one thing that the Lord will do, he will give you, he will tell you the promise, but he will not tell you the process. He will not reveal to you the process of what it's going to take, how long it's going to take, where you're going to be, how it's going to unfold, because he was just giving you insight on his plan for you. The plans of the Lord are to prosper you, to bring you to an expected end. They aren't to harm you. So when he shares words with you, one, be humbled when the God of the heavens and the earth, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the universe, when he comes and confides in you and gives you insight on what he's doing, like, be honored that he spoke to you, because he didn't have to. He's a holy God. He is a holy God. It took much time for me to even reverence and understand that there was a time to where I would just be like, just seeking after a word out of people, because that's the danger. We can almost use it as a genie. We could almost use it as a psychic, things that are not like God. It's trying to seek answers and seek for just what's happening next in my life. Where am I going next in my life? You can't do that. You seek God daily. You pray to the Lord daily. You submit yourself to the Lord daily and gain understanding of, Lord, what do you have for me in this season of my life? What do you have for me as I wait for those words to come to pass? What do you desire for me to do? We can get in trouble trying to leech after pastors and prophets, trying to just get a word of, am I going to get that car? Am I going to get that car? Am I going to get that job? Am I going to get that house? Honey, relax. Let's just relax real quick, because I feel like there are people that's watching right now. You have been kind of upset that things are not happening the way that the Lord said it was going to happen, the way that you perceive that he said it was going to happen, because we prophesy in part and we know in part, the way that you gain understanding on how the Lord was going to unfold it. I can feel your frustration. I can feel the almost like the anxiousness of, when is it going to do it? When? And we can get in trouble to where, this is where I got in trouble. You look at the word that he gave you and you try to help him make it happen. Honey, God don't need your help to fulfill no word. He just needs your obedience. He needs your faith, and he needs your willing vessel, just your yes. He just needs your yes. But you trying to help God open up the door for a new business, or get in a relationship, all this stuff, you trying to help God, it only hurts you. Be still. When the Lord gives you a word, be still. Go back to him. Pray over it. Cover it. But be still. Don't be anxious. Be anxious for nothing. That was my fall. I was so anxious that I put my hands in what God was doing, thinking that I knew the individual that was supposed to be married to me, thinking that I knew how to even manage and handle relationships. So much went into me trying to help God when he doesn't need my help. He just wanted my relationship. He just wanted my love. He just wanted me to take heed in what he was doing. I know this podcast wasn't what you expected, but I just really wanted to take a moment to share with you. I've interviewed so many people talking about what they really put before God, but this was a true true testimony of my own. I had to lay down the prophetic words that I idolized over God. And instead of looking to those words as a map for my life, I had to look at Jesus. I had to look at God. I had to consult God. And those words were just little sprinkles on the cake. We cannot take those little sprinkles and try to make it a meal. The meal is the word of the Lord, the word, the Bible, the tangible word of the Lord. The meal is prayer, is relationship with God. That's what that is. So I don't know what you may be facing today. I don't know what you're holding on to today, but know that it's going to happen. The Lord is going to bless it. But let's hone back in and let's get in our word. Let's spend time with the Lord, and let's cast down all imaginations, everything that we tried to exalt before the Lord. Let's lay it down and really Let's put Jesus first and our desires second. My desire was to see the manifestation of the Lord, and it happened. The Lord has manifested himself in incredible ways in my life, not how I thought it was going to, and that's even better. He will bless you far more than what you asked or imagined, and that's better. So until next time, this is Jesus First and Coffee. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Y'all have been amazing. Share with a friend. Let them know that we're putting Jesus first and our desires second. See you next time.